Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this meeting of the Berkeley County Board of Education this Tuesday, June 14th. I call the meeting to order. I declare a quorum of members are present and the media has been notified. Do we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Tanner, second from Ms. Wofford to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of approving the agenda, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? 3, 4, 5. The motion is approved by a vote of 7-0. We need a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting of May 24th, 2022.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Tanner, second from Ms. Littleton, to approve the minutes of the May 24th board meeting. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it by a vote of 7-0. We also need a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting of June 7th, 2022.
So moved.
We have a motion from Ms. Wofford, second from Ms. Littleton, to approve the minutes of the board meeting of June 7th, 2022. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion of approving the minutes, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. We also have a motion to enter into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Tanner, a second from Mr. Wright to enter into executive session. The stated purposes of executive session are a discussion of the employment, demotion, discipline, or release of an employee or employees as needed. C, a legal update regarding a pending, threatened, or potential claim or other matters covered by attorney-client privilege. D, a discussion of the negotiations incident to propose contractual arrangements for the purchase of property. E, one student expulsion appeal. A little late for that, but we have one on the docket. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of entering into executive session, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it by a vote of 7-0. We are in executive session. Had to hit it a little louder because there's so many of y'all tonight. Thanks y'all for coming. We need a motion to return to regular session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Tanner, a second from Ms. Wofford to return to regular session from executive session. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. We are in regular session. And for the record, no action was taken in executive session. The next item is the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Some special recognition is due tonight for some tremendous young individuals that have represented Berkeley County extremely well in their respective high schools. So at this time, we'll ask Ms. Katie Tanner, Director of Public Relations, to come and do the Legacy Builders for us.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Barrow, Superintendent Jackson, members of the board, cabinet, and all of you who have joined us tonight. I'm excited to resume recognitions of our student and staff achievement after we've had about a 2-year pause. We've had some great things happening, and so this summer we're really going to do a Summer of Champions where we try to capture some of the achievements that we've missed. We will not be able to capture everybody we've missed, but we're going to do our best to do a representation of our district and what's been going on recently. So tonight we're going to recognize 3 teams who this spring captured state championship titles for their schools. I think we all can agree that a state championship team is not built overnight. A state title represents years of investments by student athletes, their parents, their coaches, their school leaders, and their communities. I do not wish to steal anyone's thunder, especially that of our proud school leaders, coaches, or board members. So I'm going to stop here and ask you to join me in welcoming and celebrating our first team tonight, which are our 2022 5A baseball state champions of Berkeley High School.
Y'all can come up here. Y'all come up. Come up so we can get you all in. To see you all. There, you can go up. There you go. Come up on the dais.
There we go.
You know I'm a
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And Coach Landley Cox has joined us tonight so he can share with you about his team and their accomplishments.
First of all, as an educator, you have to constantly adjust to things. When I told them all to wear a tie tonight, I did not know the new thing was shorts with a bow tie, so forgive us. And I guess that's the new style. But yeah, we've gone I've been at Berkeley for 19 years. I've been in Berkeley County schools. I was at Westview, went to Westview Middle School. Mr. Barrow was assistant principal at Stratford High School, and then I've been at Berkeley for a long time. And one of our goals is to win a state championship, and it was 19 years. And I was waiting on it to be a perfect team, perfect situation, and it was not that, but it was good enough for us to win a state championship this year. And but again, thank you for having us. We got a couple things we'd like to present here. We've got a signed baseball. This was a baseball in the state championship game, and we'd like to give it right now to Miss Sally Wofford. We'd like to give her a baseball. We also, during the state championship game, we went down game 1, had our backs against the wall, but Mr. Willis Sanders, to me, I don't know, to me, he's a legend around Berkeley County schools. I think everybody knows Mr. Sanders, but he did a painting for us. He said, Coach, this is going to be good luck right here for you. But it's a painting of a stag, and just a beautiful, everybody knows the art that he does. And we've got one for each person up front here. Look at it, you'll love it. And we also got actually, you'll be able to see the painting here. But for Mr. Jackson, we've got the drawing up front with proud to be Berkeley High School in the front. So this will be for Mr. Jackson. And he also got a signed baseball for him. And last thing I'd like to say here. We played the last couple weeks in front of 2,000 to 3,000 people. It was just incredible, but it was very rewarding on a Memorial Day. It was 100 degrees. And Mr. Tim McDowell, we appreciate you being there that day. And also Mr. Jackson, I saw him there. And that really, I mean, there were so many people. I'm sure there's people now that I missed that was at the game. But it made me feel so good to have our superintendent at the game for us. But again, thank you for having us.
Congratulations, Landon. Fantastic.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Mr. Barrow will let you know just team.
You got a picture, Brian? Yeah, get a picture.
Squeeze together, guys. Let me get your taller guy.
That's it. Duck down. Do not want to be in your picture.
He remembers.
Go up there.
Well, you can go be in the
Go in the picture. Here, take your ball.
Yeah, go ahead. Soup, you should be up there, Soup. Awesome.
Feeling some kind of way. That's right, that's right.
You saying something?
Yeah, I was gonna say everybody's leaving, but I just want to thank Coach Cox. 19 years he has invested into a state championship. It has been his dream for a long time. Some of those boys have been playing varsity since 7th grade. They have put a lot of hours and days in on that baseball field in Monk's Corner and playing during the summers. Coach Kitts, Coach Brittle, Coach Salisbury. I'm going to leave somebody out, I'm sure. Con Salisbury is the epitome of the volunteer coach in this school district, and he has volunteered his time for probably 20 years and given to that baseball program. So thank you to the parents. There's kids from 8th grade to 12th grade on that team, and they have put a lot of hours into that accomplishment. So we are very, very proud of what they've done, and thank the community for really just showing up for them and raising the money and traveling. Last game, I really would say we probably outnumbered the other team fans, maybe 5-1. Monk's Corner traveled, so thank you to the community for that as well.
Hear, hear. Go Stag.
All right, our next recognition includes 2 teams from a fairly new high school who in just 5 short years, this high school has set itself apart as promoting a culture of champions, even receiving the Carlisle Cup just last year for having the top teams in the state. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming and celebrating the 2022 Class AA Boys Tennis Team and the 2022 Class AA Girls State Champion Track Team, both from Philip Simmons High School.
Thank you very much. We're honored to be here. Because of COVID, we didn't win the state championship one year, but the boys have won it 3 years in a row here.
Right.
We hope to be a state champion next year in 3A. Then we hope to be 4A, and then Wando that will not play us because it's no advantage to lose to a 2A team. We hope to beat Wando. That right there is Soren Spina. That's my co-captain of the tennis team.
Awesome.
And I want to tell you about Philip Simmons. Oh, there's a gentleman right there. He's a Philip Simmons man right there, Dr. Dixon. He knows about our program. All right? Soren right there. He's a senior. He's going to honors college at Clemson. He has a 5.08 grade point average. At Philip Simmons High School with 700 students, that makes him 15th in the class.
Awesome.
So that's pretty impressive. It really is. We had a great year. We only wound up 13-7 because we got better every single game. And one honor we had, Bergen High School in New Jersey came down and played us. Of course, we beat them. We weren't really nice about that. They had heard that we were the most sportsmanship team in the state of South Carolina, and they came down to Hilton Head, and they came all the way up to Charleston to play us.
There you go.
We worked hard. We played hard. I'm talking too long. I do that on the tennis court too. And we had a lot of fun. And we plan on keep winning state championships when we're 3A, when we're 4A, and when we're 5A. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Emma Santor. It's an honor to be here tonight. I am the head girls track coach for Philip Simmons High School. This is a short number of our girls' team. We have some on vacation, but we actually broke school history for most girls and boys taken to the state championship. There was almost not even enough medals to pass out at the championship, but that's a problem I'm willing to have. We are back-to-back state champions. Last year, we took home the 2A title, and we came back hungry round 2 this year, and these girls have worked tirelessly day in and day out. They did not stop until they had that trophy in their hands, and I could not be prouder of them. I would like to give a special congratulations to Miss Naj Watson. Naj is the 15th girl in the state history of South Carolina to win 4 gold medals at the state championship meet. It's an honor to coach these girls. Not only are they the best runners in the state, they're some of the best humans in the state. They are amazing kids inside and out, and I'm so proud of them. Congratulations. Thank you, guys.
All folks on the back, please. You know who you are.
Yeah, hold the hardware.
Awesome.
Good job, you guys. That's awesome. Way to go, coaches.
Congratulations to all these wonderful student athletes, and we're really excited to continue this summer with our student achievement recognitions and our Summer of Champions. That concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's always exciting to recognize good accomplishments, good achievement on the athletic fields and also in the classroom. So that's what Berkeley County is proud of for the last 70 years, providing that great education and those co-curricular activities that mean so much to our communities and our schools. So the next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. We have one gentleman that would like to speak tonight, a frequent guest, is Mr. Garris Davis. Welcome, Mr. Davis. His topic is cognia and adding 5 new positions to the SIC. Welcome, Mr. Davis.
This is where we're talking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Appreciate being here, Chairman Barr.
Thank you, sir.
And school board, all you folks. 3 things I want to talk about that Chairman Barr.
We can't hear you, Mr.
Can you hear me all
Garris.
right now?
Yeah, just step right up to it. Or you can hold it either way.
I think I know how to work it, but is that it? And I know to talk into it. But anyway, the 3 things, as you indicated, that I wanted to talk about are cognia, some new positions that were spoken about in the 24th meeting, and SIC, which is something I just learned about today. Briefly on the cognia, I think it's great. What I calculated was for the accreditation, Berkeley County got a B. I know they gave a score of 3.20, but that didn't really mean anything to me. But I'm interested into a couple of things about that, and that is the processes and gaps that were a central point in the cognia presentation on the concept of continuous improvement. I'm focused particularly on academics, and I'm focused on equity and social emotional learning, because there was a bullet point in there that talked about equity of resources. Now, it may not have a thing to do with it, okay? But I would like somebody from the school board to give me a call and just let's dialogue a little bit. I don't want to get into FOIAs. I don't think there's that much there that would require a FOIA. I won't go into it in any more depth, but I've got some questions. And as a layman, in my previous experience, I've got some experience with doing process reengineering, all of the things that came out in that presentation, and that's where my interest lies. The other thing on the new positions, and I think Mr. Barrow, you can correct me, Mr. Barrow, he set me straight on a couple of things because I got a little concerned on timelines. The latest thing I understand is there's going to be a decision made by the 28th of June, I think, with the second and third reading to approve maybe 5 new positions. And I think also there was a teacher raise involved in that. My only concerns on that is when you, of course, was the salaries, okay? And the way it was described. What I'd like to have is a job description. I don't want to do it for you. I don't have any money. And if it requires that, I don't want the job description. I'd like to know who wrote the job description. I'd like to make a comparative analysis in the job description and the people in the 5 positions that are going to be supported. Because I'm concerned with the work content that needs to be handed off to these people that are going to make these high salaries, okay? And that's a process in private industry that's always done before you add head count, which in the old days, that's what they called it. So I'm real concerned about that because, hey, shooting from the hip, where's the little thing that tells how much time I got? How much time I got?
Mr. Garris, I'm exercising my
I'm running out?
I'm exercising the board chair privilege of allowing you some additional time. You have 30 seconds.
I appreciate you, sir. But anyway, I won't go into detail on that. I want to dialogue it with the folks that know and that are managing that. The last time Dr. Baird the other day introduced me to the School Improvement Council, which I knew nothing about. And I looked at the state statute and the website, and it says that the district has some responsibility in the state statute to kind of support that effort at the school level. And I don't know that there's that many people that know about the SIC, and I would like you folks to give maybe a 5-minute presentation for the public so that they would be educated on that, because I'm not sure that they are. Thank you for everything you're doing to communicate with us, and I appreciate getting the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your remarks. Thank you. The sixth agenda item is any action is required for items from executive sessions. We have several, or quite a few, so we'll start first with our, we had 1 student expulsion appeal. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion with regards to our student appeal to refer to administration and place the student on strict probation for the 2022-2023 school year.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Tanner, second from Ms. Littleton, to refer the student expulsion appeal to the administration and assign the student strict probation for the next school term. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Ayes have it. Motion carries by a vote of 6-0. We have several human resource motions. Ms. Marone.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation.
Wait, that's not right.
Oh, that's not it. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. I was excited. I move that we grant the superintendent the authority to enter into a contract for the purchase of property as discussed in executive session.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Marone, a second from Ms. Littleton, to grant the superintendent the authority to enter into a contract for the purchase of property as discussed in executive session. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries by a vote of 6-0. Ms. Wofford.
Mr. Chair, I move that we grant the superintendent the authority to enter into a joint use agreement as discussed in executive session.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Wofford, a second from Ms. Tanner, to grant the superintendent the authority to enter into a joint use agreement as discussed in executive session. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? The motion carries by a vote of 6-0.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the personnel recommendations of the administration as discussed in executive session.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Littleton and a second from Ms. Wofford to accept the personnel recommendations of the administration as discussed in executive session. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries by a vote of 6-0.
Mr. Chairman, I move to deny the employee appeal as discussed in executive session.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Tanner, a second from Ms. Wofford to deny the employee appeal as discussed in executive session. Do we have any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I have to recuse myself from the vote.
Thank you.
for
Ms.
personal
Marone is recusing herself from this vote. Any other discussion? All in favor of this motion to deny the employee appeal, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries by a vote of 5-0. Now we get to some really good stuff.
Now it's you.
Ms. Marone.
Now it's
Now
you.
you're on.
Now it's you. Now we're ready. Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Amanda Bauer as the assistant principal for Hanahan Elementary School with a starting date of July 11th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Marone and a second from Ms. Tanner to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. Amanda Bauer as the assistant principal for Hanahan Elementary School with a starting date of July 11, 2022. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Congratulations, Ms. Bauer. You are the assistant. Please introduce your cadre of people with you. Where would you like them, Brian? Okay.
Miss Mitchell, I think they want you to.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Kate O'Leary as the assistant principal for Westview Elementary School with a starting date of July 11th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Tanner, a second from Ms. Littleton to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. Kate O'Leary as the assistant principal for Westview Elementary School with a starting date of July 11th, 2022. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Congratulations, Ms. O'Leary. Introduce your family and friends and whomever you'd like.
So I have my husband Jason, my mom, my this is my leader for my happy card. But also some new teammates that I'm doing, so my principal is from the coaching teacher also.
So whoever you'd like to have a picture with, bring them up.
I felt your energy, Miss Wyatt, when she came back there. I know.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Lauren Canfield as the Assistant Principal of Goose Creek High School with a starting date of July 11, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion from Dr. Wigfall, a second from Ms. Tanner, to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. Lauren Canfield as the Assistant Principal for Goose Creek High School with a starting date of July 11, 2022. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Ms. Canfield.
Yeah.
Where would you like them, Brian? Come on up. Come on down.
Oh, looking good in the black and gold. Y'all are beautifully color coordinated in the black and gold. I mean, it's fantastic.
It's nice. Black and gold.
We don't want to be late.
Oh, I said, what is happening?
Really?
Brian.
We weren't color coordinated enough.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration and name Mr. Mathis Burnett as the Assistant Principal Athletic Director of Stratford High School with a starting date of July 1st, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Littleton, a second from Ms. Wofford to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Dr. Matthias Burnett as the Assistant Principal Athletic Director of Stratford High School with a starting date of July 1, 2022. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Congratulations, Doctor.
Thank you. I have here with me my wife Christine, my brother Brooks, Principal Jimmy.
Come on up for a picture.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Matthew Bradbury as the Assistant Principal Athletic Director of Cross High School with a starting date of July 1st, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Wofford and a second from Ms. Tanner to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Mr. Matthew Bradbury as the Assistant Principal Athletic Director of Cross High School with a starting date of July 1st, 2022. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it by a vote of 5-0. Congratulations, Mr. Bradbury. Do you have an entourage with you tonight, Matthew? I figured that.
My wife, Wendy, who's a kindergarten teacher in the county. My two daughters are with me, my son, and my mom also.
Awesome.
There's also some of my seventh grade teachers from Berkeley Middle School that are here for more support for me, and also for making another decision. Don't be making it wrong. Thank you.
All right, come on up.
So you don't get out.
Whoever you'd like to have a picture with.
You forgot
If you ever name names, you forget them.
I heard him say your name. I did. I heard him. I got you. I got you.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Melissa Chipless as the enrichment coordinator with a starting date of July the 1st, 2022, pending the release of her contract.
Second.
We have a motion from Dr. Wigfall, a second from Ms. Tanner, to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. Melissa Chipless as the enrichment coordinator with a starting date of July 1st, 2022, pending the release of her contract. And is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. The motion carries. Congratulations, Ms. Chipless. Are you with, did someone come with you? Well, you can still come up front, or where you want to take the picture? You want to go back there? Up here. Let's don't stop a good thing. Come on up. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's nice.
Oh, that's good.
Where's Lacey?
Congratulations. That's good. We don't want to be the photo bomb,
That's
man.
right. We don't want to.
Last but certainly not least, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name LaTanya Butler as the principal for Berkeley Middle School with a starting date of July 1st, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Wofford, a second from Ms. Littleton, to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. LaTanya Butler as principal for Berkeley Middle School with a start date of July 1st, 2022, or tomorrow, whichever comes first.
You said tomorrow in the back.
All in favor, is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Congratulations, Ms. Butler.
Michael and Shonda. I have my nieces. I have my brother and sister, Michael and Shanika. My extended tribe, my admin team from Goose Creek High School that I love, but will be leaving. I have my very good friend, Miss Heather Ducker, and a cheer squad from Berkeley Middle School.
Congratulations. Whoever would like to take a picture with,
Come on down.
maybe you'd like to just sit there, we'll get a picture of all of you.
Brian, we don't have to duck. Okay.
Okay. Good. Tell us to move if we're photo bombing.
Yes.
Or you can just crop us out.
Tanya, you mind getting one with them as well?
And to your
Can we get
family.
one with the Berkeley Middle Tribe?
You're next. He said I can have two.
Oh, there you go.
Ms. Washington, the shortest one in the back.
From the past to the present. Right? She's good. I work with her.
I'm so sure they can.
Y'all are supposed to be relaxing somewhere.
They look happy. Good stuff. It's getting hot in here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at a juncture where usually when there's school the next day, we ask if there's anybody that'd like to be dismissed, at this point in time, and we're still going to do that, and I want to see how many of you take it up. So you're welcome to be dismissed at this time if you came for the appointments and for the congratulations of our new employees.
Go celebrate.
It's going to go from the full house to four. It's going to go from the full house to four people.
Can't hear you.
Full house to four.
Oh, yeah. That's 90%.
Goodness.
See the sausage. Are you going to?
Out of town.
Shot my self-esteem. I thought
I'm going to the big club in Tennessee.
Shot my self-esteem.
Because our kids are, actually Mary Page was
There you go.
selected for the opening ceremonies.
Inflating ball.
So I'm going to Tennessee.
So you've got a
I think this is a
quorum.
sausage roll.
Mac doesn't, so I need to put Crystal on that one. So the next item is number 7, and generally we don't have to do this, but tonight I'm going to have to appoint another member to the Finance and Capital Projects Committee because Mr. McQuillan and Mr. Wright are not here. So I'm going to ask Dr. Wigfall if she will graciously accept that and help me on the Finance and Capital Projects Committee.
I will.
Thank you. And I will serve as the chair of the committee.
Okay.
At this point in time, we have the next item is the superintendent's report. Mr. Jackson.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, board members, cabinet, what's left of the audience out there. Tonight, I'm going to yield a portion of my time. I'll do a quick explanation. Throughout the course of the year, we've had discussions openly and in private about making modifications to our disciplinary matrix to align with the needs of our students, and kind of shifting the focus away from solely the consequences and trying to provide students with tools and resources to help them make better decisions in the future. And so tonight we have Ms. Heather Taylor and then also a team, a tandem of assistant principals that really help to spearhead this effort. And so at this time I will turn the floor over to Ms. Taylor and she will do the introductions and the presentation.
Good evening. Board Chair Barrow, Superintendent Jackson, and board members. Thank you for having us this evening. Oh, I can do that. Thank you. Thank you for having us this evening to present the new middle school discipline matrix. This presentation is actually in conjunction with revisions of policy JICDA and administrative rule JICDA-R, which I believe will be going through the first reading later tonight. The committee that created this discipline matrix had 11 members. There were 7 middle school APs and 4 district level staff to include myself, Ms. Elaine Swain, Dr. Wally Baird, and Mr. Tim McDowell. All middle level principals and APs were involved in the creation of this new discipline matrix. Numerous meetings were held to make sure all middle level administrators, leadership team, and cabinet members were provided the ability for their input when creating this matrix. You have in front of you, I'm sure, the final product. The current discipline matrix that is being used in all of Berkeley County schools at this time is for middle and high school students. As I feel you would all agree, consequences for a 12-year-old should not be the same as for a 17-year-old. Developmentally, they are not in the same headspace. I would hope you would also agree that just providing a punishment such as ISS and OSS does not fix the behavior of a child or the circumstance. You will notice through this presentation, as well as in the actual middle school discipline matrix, that we purposely put in restorative practices for this purpose. At this time, I would like to introduce Ms. Rachel Spitulski and Mr. Chris Thurman. So Rachel is from Sangaree Middle, Chris is from Philip Simmons Middle. They are going to present this new information to you. They have been the leads throughout this entire process. I really don't know what I would have done without them. They not only are true leads, they actually have gone through all of the training for restorative practice. They can train people on restorative practice, and both of their schools respectively do a very good job already with restorative practices within their schools, and they've had a lot of success with it. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to them. And this is your clicker.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Taylor, Superintendent Jackson, Chairman Barrow, members of the board, and everybody else that stayed to hang with us tonight. We really are excited about being able to present this to you this evening. Starting out with kind of the overall why. We know that things are changing in the community and in Berkeley County, and overall our district goal of school climate is to provide a healthy, safe, supportive learning environment for all students, and that means that at times we need to review and refine our policy. So this really kind of came to light multiple years ago, before actually I got to Sangaree Middle, based on the needs of students and kids making some poor choices that really was just like a one-time offense. And so it's grown from then. So really looking at why we're looking at the changes to the discipline matrix, and Ms. Taylor pointed out a couple things here in regards to the fact that we have same consequences for a 6th grader and a high school senior. I have a 7th grade, now going to be an 8th grade daughter, Haley, who I have had the pleasure of living through the big emotions that come from middle schoolers. One moment she loves me, next moment she hates me, wants me to go away, can say, Her mind is completely all over the place, and that's what we typically see with middle school kids. They don't know how to regulate emotions. They don't know how to handle that stress from others. And so we really wanted to focus on not just passing out discipline, but talking with kids, figuring out what's really going on, where are they missing things, what skills do we need to put in place. Because overall, we all want the same thing, our kids to be successful. We want them to be in the building. I don't care how bright and amazing athletically my kids are. I want them to be good people. And those skill sets need to be taught. We really look at the fact that we know that the hormones and the emotions are going all over the place, and really trying to get them to understand empathy and self-awareness. And again, we know that's something that has to be taught with middle school.
So, our focus for this matrix is definitely all based in research. The first fact I want to share with you is that students that are suspended or expelled for a discretionary violation, that's things like disrespect or defiance, those students are 3 times more likely to be in contact with the juvenile justice system the following year. This speaks to something commonly known as the school-to-prison pipeline, and that is something that we want to avoid. We want to give our students the best opportunity possible to lead the futures that we know that they can have, and that starts with educating them about how to make better choices and have good, solid behavior. Next, suspensions and expulsions account for up to 1/5 of the black-white achievement gap. It's no secret that there is an achievement gap. And so a big piece of that comes from what has been known or has become known as zero tolerance consequences. Those things came about in the 80s and 90s to kind of say that we're putting our foot down and giving these consequences. I do want to step in and say there are still consequences with this discipline matrix. However, the focus is now, not only is there a consequence, we're going to now dig deeper and figure out why things are happening to curtail whatever the behavior was happening again. And finally, restorative practices reduce suspensions and expulsions and promote greater school safety and academic success. This is crucial because, one, a huge goal for the school district is to improve academic achievement. And secondly, beyond schooling, these students are going to have the opportunity to know how to think through their decision making so that when they become adults in the community, we have a better chance at them having the futures that we can dare to imagine. So this image is important because what we see now with discipline is just the tip of the iceberg. We see a behavior and we get a consequence. And that's generally it in most situations. What we want to do is dig deeper though. With this matrix, we want to go beyond behavior and look at the choices and the decisions that were made that led there. Those choices and decisions are based on a belief system, which is based on a child's upbringing and experiences. Now, we can't change their upbringing and experiences, but what we can do is work on their belief system. If we can try to educate children about the importance of good decision making, figuring out why this is a good decision to make, and how to discern the difference between the types of decisions they're making, we can work on those behaviors becoming better rather than just giving consequences.
So the big question is, what is restorative practices? I promise you that Thurman and I could talk all night about restorative practices. But we won't. I've got a ball game to get to with my boys. They're playing at the field down here. The biggest thing with it all is that restorative practice is not a program. It's not something else to add to the plate. It is the plate. It is a mindset. It is a silver platter in which everything's delivered. As parents, I don't ever just put my kid in timeout and leave it be. We have a conversation. What happened that got you in timeout? And in timeout in my house is sitting on the stairs together, side by side, one stair, till we figure it out, so that we can resolve that problem and work towards not having the same problem over and over in the future. Really being able to have conversations with kids and allowing them to have their voice is a huge component. Okay. So this next part here can be a little overwhelming, but we're going to give you an example and kind of work through what that looks like. So this is a social discipline window. It describes the 4 basic approaches to addressing behavior that needs to change. Okay. So if we're looking at this, we've got multiple different ways that someone can discipline a child. Ultimately, we want to have high control, accountability, expectations, limits, as well as high support. So we want to be able to encourage them, explicit instruction. So we take the example of a fight. These things happen, kids disagree, they don't know how to handle the situation, and so we end up in an altercation. So if we look at the punitive, which is high control but low support, we are doing that to the students. The discipline and consequences are going to be done to them. So you're in a fight, you're suspended, out of school, gone, done. No, we're not having discussions about it, we're not looking into anything, it is what it is. If we look at it from a neglectful or the not, we are not really kind of paying attention to it. We're just going to overlook it, turn our heads, they'll figure it out, no big deal. And then we look at permissive. This is one that tends to come up at times, that really we need to hold kids accountable. And so being permissive or doing things for them, two boys get into something altercation-wise, and we say, oh, it's just boys being boys. That is low on the control and higher on the support. We're kind of just saying, well, it's okay, no big deal. But what we really want to do is really focus on restorative and doing things with the student. So instead of doing it to them or for them, we want to help them work through the process. When my kids learned to tie their shoes, we practiced a lot of hand over hand. We were together the entire time, and then we backed away, but I was still there to support them. We teach the skill and support the skill. So in this part, we want to talk with them about who was impacted by your decision. And that's a big thing for kids to take time to recognize. They don't think about anybody else but themselves. They're middle schoolers, it's very typical. But when they kind of see the bigger picture, oh, my teachers, my classmates, you, my mom, her colleagues, things that really come into play, it kind of hits them more. And we want to get them to help kind of tell us the story, what's going on, what's deeper in their path at this time. So we want to work with them, asking questions and truly taking time to listen to them. So with that, we have questions. These are the restorative questions. They may be framed a little different here and there, but overall, they're the same kind of overarching concept. Asking the kids what happened, getting their point of view of things is huge. Middle schoolers want to be heard. And we just need to listen because they've got a lot to say. What were you thinking at the time? This one, depending upon when you ask a child, depends upon the answer you'll get. If it's right away, you may get an I don't know. A shoulder shrug, which we say, no, we need to think about it. What was going on that caused this reaction? What have you thought about since? Typically, if we've had a kid have some time to cool down, they've rethought through things. We've had kids that have asked multiple times for a different reflection log to really go back through the questions. Who has been affected by what you have done and in what way? Who was impacted? And one of the biggest things we need to be able to do is, as adults, if we make mistakes, is to understand that we need to make things right. So getting the kids to say what they think would make the situation better. There are still consequences. If you're getting in a fight, you still are being suspended out of school, but we need those kids to come back to school and learn and work together. I give the example all the time that if my emotions are really big and I'm hot because my husband and I got in an argument and I pull my car out of my spot and I rear end the person behind me, I'm still responsible for those damages. I didn't mean to. I wasn't doing it on purpose, but I'm responsible for the damages that I caused. Just as if I was mad at the person behind me and I pulled my car on purpose, I'm responsible for those damages. So I still have a consequence, but I also need to make things right. I would expect I would be getting out probably in tears. I'm so sorry, because I accidentally hit your car. So getting kids to kind of think through how are they going to make things right. The kids are pretty smart with it. They give quite good answers when they get the chance. And the other big thing is it's teaching them it's okay to have these feelings and emotions. That's real, that's normal. How do you handle them? What do you do? If you've got to talk to somebody, you're not going to confront them with a whole group. It's not going to work. How do we get them to have communication with each other effectively? And so this is a big shift in culture. So the side on the left side is more your traditional discipline. Students are learning through fear, the teachers command and respect, and this is what it is. But with restorative practices, looking more, the teachers are gaining respect by modeling for their students, allowing that conversation to happen, actually truly listening to their students and what they have to say. Control, teachers tell the students they're doing something wrong, that's it, done, versus support and helping the students understand their behavior and how they can make changes to it and how that's impacting others, because sometimes they don't even realize it. And then the last part with punishment, we want kids to make great choices, but we want kids to make great choices because they want to make them. I want my children to be honest, not because they're afraid of getting in trouble, but because that's truly what they internally feel, that it is best to be honest about something.
So now we're gonna kind of get into the layout of the matrix itself. So the matrix is divided into levels. First off, it is still a progressive discipline plan. What that means is if infractions continue to happen, then the consequences intensify. So the matrix is broken off into levels. Level 1 is behavioral misconduct. These are usually teacher-managed things, but if they continue to occur in the classroom, they go to the administrative level. Then you have disruptive conduct. Then level 3 is criminal conduct. That's when you start getting SROs involved. And then the 4th level is the automatic recommendation for expulsion. Those are the unfortunate and rare occasions where, by law, we have to recommend students for expulsion. So in the matrix, you will find, board members, on the far right side for every infraction, there is a definition. What this does is this sets the standard for everybody in the district. This is what it is. This defines every infraction so that there is not a question. And the beautiful thing is every description is tied to district policy. And so we didn't just make these things up. We had to make sure that it was tied to what is in the district policy. And then every consequence, you will see on that matrix that every consequence includes a reflection log. The questions that Rachel just went over, those are included on that log. And now the students not only have a way to reflect verbally with you or with us, they also have a way to write out what they're thinking, because a lot of times when you're talking, for some children anyway, they can't necessarily think through everything in that moment. But when they have that time to write and think about it while they're writing, and then you talk about it after, now you have a chance to have an authentic conversation. Now you've given kind of that cool down time so that you can really get to the meat of why a certain behavior happened.
So I'm gonna jump back. I forgot one part there. So when we talked about the fight earlier, and we talked about restorative, so those 2 students who got into the physical altercation would still be suspended, but they would have filled out a reflection log. We would have spoken with them as assistant principals. We would have gone through that part, and depending upon the feel between the kids, if they're in a better spot, or if they're still just not needing to be together. We may meet with them before they go out on suspension, but definitely before they come back into the building, before they're back into a classroom, that we're meeting with those 2 kiddos with guidance, a social worker, or an assistant principal, so that they can get everything laid out together. Because most of the time in middle school, they just get hyped up by the audience. They can't back down from each other. And so really getting them to have that conversation allows so much more growth between them, and we really are seeing less students being impacted in the same way. If Thurman and I had a disagreement and we got into it, we talked it out together with an adult. I'm cool with you, you're cool with me. We're not seeing the same altercations continue on between the 2 students.
So additions for this matrix that are not in the one that is currently in place, we have included some times for explicit instruction and intervention. There's also restorative conferences and conversations. As Ms. Patulski just said, we have those conversations with students, and this is just an informal conversation at this point. But then it can turn into a restorative formal conference with that student. These are just those conversations again, and then we're documenting them this time, and we're making sure that students are being held accountable and are still learning about why you behave this way. What's the impact that it had? This takes a lot of time, a lot of manpower, a lot of work, but we feel like it is so important for our middle school students to have the opportunity to grow from their mistakes. And finally, a restorative formal conference with the student and even their parents and guardians. We all know that education is not just the teachers, it's not just educators. This is a team effort, and everybody in this district is in it for the children. And so we want to work with parents and community members to make sure that they are also informed and learning about better ways to make better choices. And so finally, as we conclude, we want to tie everything back to our mission. And the mission of Berkeley County is to facilitate and support student-driven learning experiences by unleashing the power and potential of education. Notice it doesn't just say academics. We are here to teach. And that includes teaching our children how to behave, what is appropriate, what happens when you make these kinds of choices. And that's where we go into our vision. If we're going to create a future that we dare to imagine and make a positive difference, we need to give each and every student in Berkeley County schools the opportunity to learn from their mistakes. Everybody here probably remembers when you were 11. We weren't making the best decisions then. Our hope is that as we continue to teach these children the best ways to behave, that we can grow them into being the future changers that we want to see. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So these two are pretty incredible, as I said. I want to conclude this by saying thank you to Mr. Jackson for allowing me, honestly, to be a part of this team and to create this. This has been extremely fulfilling, and I think this is just definitely a necessity for Berkeley County School District as a whole.
Yes.
And I actually look forward to doing this hopefully next year with the high school group as well. But do you all have any questions at this time for us?
I do. I heard that you all talked about the assistant principals, social workers, case managers, but are we giving any types of training with this model to teachers?
Absolutely. So we are both trained, there's other members in the district that are trained as well to train our entire staff. So that this language is just the general language we use in the building. So we want teachers to be able to have a conversation with a student who maybe is not making the best choices today and try to figure out what's going on and get the supports needed put in place for that kid. So if it's something outside of the school setting that they need help with, getting a guidance member involved, getting a social worker involved, but really want it to start with the teachers.
I think this is fantastic, fantastic. And so my only question that I have for you is, how does mental health play into this? Was it a part of your, you guys talked about the evidence-based research, was it part of that? And can you elaborate a little bit on that for it? But I'm stoked. I'm sure you saw my head and I was amening you a lot, so yes.
So, yes, mental health definitely plays a huge part of it. As Ms. Patulski said, we have involved, Ms. Patulski and Ms. Taylor said, we've involved administrators, guidance counselor. The biggest piece or biggest reason that we even had that type of involvement is because we know that there's so many different ways that kids think. And we actually attended a training in December that talked about the mental health of kids and their brain development and how all of these theories and things go into play whenever kids are making decisions. And so in thinking about their mental health, we've included all of these stakeholders because none of us, no one person has the answer. And so that's why guidance and social workers, parents, because while we have a lot of education smarts, parents know their kids. And so we trust and we want to make sure that we are involving everyone we can to help students become the better versions of themselves.
Amazing. And y'all's energy just, I mean.
That was going to be.
We are very passionate about this.
I like it.
One of my questions.
Yes, ma'am.
In regards to mental health, because it almost sounds a little bit about in regards to root cause therapy, if you guys want to research that, because it almost resembles that. And it's almost as though this particular therapy, it's fairly new, but I see a lot of that in that.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you.
Absolutely. We practice this in our own households. My kids know the questions very well.
I like it.
But when given the chance to think through things, they really do have amazing answers.
Is this going to be for our SROs too that have in contact with our students as well?
SROs actually have already received training throughout the district.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And
Are you utilizing this in your schools?
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And the teachers are buying into it and feel comfortable with the language?
Sometimes it takes more convincing. However, once they see the outcomes and they see the relationships being built, it usually becomes a no-brainer. So we'd offer support, definitely, because it does not come easy to everyone. However, the support is there, and this is the way
that we want to make sure our students are supported as well in the future.
And definitely a change in culture.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Positive change.
So we're rolling this
Absolutely.
out across all the middle schools, yes?
Yes. All the middle school principals were on board before we really started working on this mission here. And we truly believe in it, and we see the results. I can't give you the data specific results with it all, but we can feel it in our buildings. We can see the change in our kids. We truly are passionate about this, so we're
Let
having.
me ask a question and an observation over my 50 years in this business. It seems to me that when there's an issue, and this is my attitude and philosophy, is you got to deal with it up front in the most proactive way. Because if you don't, if you just deal with it as another referral, you're going to see that kid. It's going to be multiple times. So if you deal with it up front, it's more time involved. I think you would agree with that. It's more time involved. But the time that you spend up front, you'll gain by not having to deal with that later on.
Absolutely.
I think that's, from my experience, and that's what I've taught the folks that work with me. You deal with something up front proactively. You find out what the issue is, and you try to work with that. But I think parental involvement is absolutely essential. You've got to get them motivated to actually come in and deal with the issues. And when you do that, I'm all for it. I just don't want the people involved with it to say this is a feel-good mentality. This is, or we're going to just slough off bad behavior. We're not going to address it. We're going to let our schools kind of degenerate into something of a lack of behavior. And I don't think that's what this is. I know that's not what this is, but when you take a look at some of it, and you're going to have the pros and the cons, and some people for it, some people against it, that's going to be the attitude. This is going to be a back-off situation, and they don't want the schools to get too much involved with it because it takes more time.
I just want to make a quick point. We started some of this work prior to the restorative practices. It just kind of exploded. Actually started in the social work department, and it just kind of spread from there. But the components of restorative practices, we really found that in many of the schools there were already components of restorative practices there. The framework wasn't there. The common language was not there. The structure was not there. And so what this does, it helps provide that structure, that framework, that consistency across the board to where there is a common language throughout each school, but definitely throughout all of the middle schools, hopefully into the high schools next year. But then also it helps us from a central service perspective provide support for all of the schools because there's consistency from one school to the next. And I do agree with you. I don't want it to loosen up and just be feel good and have behaviors take off. But as Mr. Thurman and my apologies, Ms. Patulski. But as they said earlier, there's still a consequence. This just goes a step further. So it's not a feel good. There's that consequence that's there. We're just dealing with what led up to the behavior as well. And so helping those students understand how they got to that point and equipping them so they can make better decisions in the future.
Yes, sir.
I think going into the high schools, actually, it would be nice if these kids moved into the high school knowing that that's the culture that they've created there as well.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
Mr. Chair, I just want to finish up by saying, we officially ended our school year. We had the last day of school just after Memorial Day. Before that, we celebrated our students, the class of 2022. We had multiple ceremonies from from Cross all the way to North Charleston Coliseum. We had the gauntlet of 7 graduations over the course of 2 days. 2,312 students walked across the stage. During that time, much of their experiences in high school were marked by a global pandemic, ever-changing COVID policies, blended learning environments, but still those students, they overcame all of that. They persevered, and that class of 2022, earned more than $42 million worth of academic grants and scholarships, and then they earned $3 million more in athletic scholarships. So we applaud those students for their perseverance and all of their achievements, even despite all of the tough situation that they faced during their high school career. So congratulations to all the graduates, and we look forward to what they will accomplish in their future endeavors.
Awesome.
Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Under the board chair report, some board meeting dates. Board members, you have copies. This is a draft. This is not final. If there are any issues that you may see with these, we do have 2 meetings next month in July, as well as and I will also add the board workshop retreat from 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock at 1 p. on July 30th, Saturday, July 30th. This will be a rather intensive retreat. We will be making certain that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed for next school year academically. Dr. Dixon will provide some insights. We will be discussing all sorts of issues, land acquisition, capital projects, budget issues, you name it. The attendance lines for the school that is going to be opening next year at the Carolyn Lewis School. So this is going to be very insightful. It's very deliberate, and I think it's going to be very necessary for as many members to attend as possible. And then, as you note, every year we have 1 board meeting in November and 1 in December, and this year is no exception. So if you have any suggestions or concerns, notify me directly. The other thing that I have is the upcoming dates. We have June 30th. We have a hiring party on the lawn. And I asked Mr. Jackson yesterday, what lawn? I mean, they're coming to my house? No, it's the lawn here at the district office. A hiring party on the lawn with food, music, and jobs. So let's pass that word on and make sure that looks like it's going to be a hot dog. But let's make sure that we pass that information out to the people that, and Miss Dr. Wright is shaking her head. She would love to see lots of people coming and applying for positions.
If you feed them, they will come.
One other thing, it's under board chair report. It's something that I've spoken a couple of times from the dais, and it's about local law. It used to be something that was not law, but it was a bill, but now it's a law. It was introduced in December, S910. And what S910 effectively has done is unify the 8 county council geographic seats with 8 school board seats, making an at-large school board seat. I have expressed my concern about this from this platform and publicly in other areas, but in consultation with other board members, this is an issue, and I've got some remarks. I kind of want to refer to them so I don't miss anything out. Some possible constitutional issues. In 2020, the community elected board members in the odd-numbered seats for a 4-year term. The law effectively, S910, effectively ends those terms to 2 years. those numbers were 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 were elected for 4 years. This law cuts that term in half without the consideration of the constituents. The people that voted for these individuals were voting for them for 4 years, not 2. Those board members, and only those board members, will have to be reelected this year and run again in 2024. So the odd number districts that were elected in 2020 will have to run in 2022 and again in 2024. This should not happen because the voters' rights are being infringed upon, in my opinion, and in the opinion of other individuals. The law does not affect the board members in the even-numbered seats who were already up for election this year. 2, 4, 6, and 8 were going to be elected this year regardless. Now, with the law, if it remains in effect, you'd have all 8 seats being elected in November, besides just the regular even number. I've heard the comparison of what this law does in comparison to Charleston County. Charleston County in 2020, the delegation elected to change the configuration of the school board from 9 at-large seats, at-large, to 9 single-member districts. The bill was enacted or passed in 2020, but it did not take effect until 2022. There was a 2-year gap between when the law was passed and when it took effect, basically telling everybody that when you are elected on the next time, you're going to be elected for 2 years instead of 4. Everybody knew up front. For 2 years, they knew that they were going to be elected for 2 years instead of 4. Regarding the seats that were up for election in 2020, the voters and the candidates running for the election were put on notice that those seats would be elected for 2-year terms prior to the election. That's not the case here, ladies and gentlemen. That's not the case. This law was passed a month ago. 5 months from now, we'll be up for election. That's not a 2-year grace period. That's not a period of time in between the law being passed and being in effect. The board members who were in the middle of their term, who were elected for 4 years, were held harmless, thereby protecting their rights and their constituents' rights. That would basically mean the odd numbers in this particular scenario would be held blameless and would not have to be running for re-election or for election in 2 years. Regarding my position, you may or may not know that S910 was actually amended. It was amended by the local delegation and subsequently passed by the House and Senate and approved by the governor. And what that did was basically preserve my position where I would serve as the at-large, and I would not have to run in November. And I would remain board chair until November of 2024. It would seem that that's a sweetheart deal, wouldn't it? I wouldn't have to run in November, and I would remain board chair until 2024. But absolutely, I oppose this. I opposed it when it was brought up. I opposed it when it was being litigated, and I oppose it now because it's not fair. It's just not fair. It violates our policy of a 2-year term limit on the board chair position. There's another comparison, and it's not an equal one. The county council consists of 8 council members and a county supervisor who runs the county similar to how our superintendent runs the district. It is our county supervisor who is elected at large, and our superintendent is hired by the board. These 2 bodies are absolutely not the same. However, if this is indeed the right path to take, this should have been done in such a way as to protect the rights of our constituents with proper notice, not to take effect until 2024. As the school board was never asked, this is critical here, the school board was never asked to collaborate, or were we ever consulted during the process of drafting this law, but it affects us directly. The public was also not considered or given the opportunity to be heard. Now, here's a complaint that some people say justifies this bill or this law, that the details of the complaints were never provided. Basically, what they were saying is people were confused as to who to vote for and what district they were in, and aligning the school board with the county council seats would satisfy that. I attended the meeting and there were no details, there was no data. All it was just a statement. Details on such complaints were never provided. Data was not provided regarding where the confusion came from or how long it had been an issue. And in fact, every voter in every precinct can go to the designated voter information websites to see who will be on the ballot. And voters can also contact the Election Commission for candidate information. So, let me just say that this law basically protects and gives gratis or a status to me and not any other member of this board, but I am absolutely opposed to it because it's wrong. And I would hope that the members of the board would see this as what it is. And I'm not going to get into the political debate, but I have my opinions as to why it is what it is. So we are going to have an action item, and the action item is that I move that the board examine the possible legal and constitutional issues regarding local law S-910 with respect to shortening the terms of the members elected in 2020 by their respective constituent districts.
Second.
We have a motion by the board chair, a second by Ms. Tanner, to do exactly as I just said, to actually have an examination and possible legal challenges to the constitutionality of this law. So I'll open it up. Is there any discussion?
I do have a question. Well, technically a statement, and I do want to let the public know in regards to my seat, District 3, that they actually placed me in now District 8, which is now opposing another African American. And that is totally unfair. They're now taking away the voice of our African American constituents, or I should say minority, and whereas they would possibly eliminate one African American on the board and just have one to represent our community. So I want that to be known.
I also want to make a statement as far as I believe that this is definitely infringing on our constituents, on their rights, and so for that reason, I'm definitely backing this.
So,
Another comment, Ms. Wofford?
Yes, sir. A couple of comments. First of all, the authority of the school board is derived from the Constitution, and the state legislatures place that authority with the school board. So our authority comes from the state legislature, and and our local delegation determines the redistricting. Redistricting happens every 10 years, and when it happens, every district has to be represented. So the example that Dr. Woodfall just gave, there would be no representation for District 3. So District 3 would be without, the way the current lines are drawn, District 3 would be without representation for 2 years if everyone stayed in place. So that's those are the rights that you're protecting. So the districts, each district needs to have a member, and all the members of that district need representation. When the redistricting happens and the lines change, and there is not a school board member in every single district, people in that district are not represented. The backside of how the lines were drawn or anything like that, I was not involved with, but there was a public comment process. My lines did change. I think you said that there was no effect on the even seats. There were effect on even seats. My lines were changed. I went on to the county website. I put in comments about my district. And then when I looked again, my district lines they did take my input on the areas that had changed in my district. Did it go back to looking how it did before? No, it did not, because every district has to be fairly represented, and the areas in Goose Creek, Nexton, and that part of the county has grown so much that there are so many people there that everyone needs to have fair representation. So that's why it happened, whether people collaborated in the past. I don't see anything in the law that requires the local delegation to work with us, but there cannot be districts that don't have school board members in it.
But they have them right now.
District 7 doesn't have a school board member in that district.
In that scenario, so then District 7 would not be represented. So that's the purpose for the reelection. One other point that I do believe that it is written that the chair at the time it was signed becomes District 9, which is the at-large. I do not think that it says that you become or stay chairman for some period of time past our policy. I believe, in the way that I read it, I believe that the person who's the chair at the time becomes District 9, they're at-large. At-large is the whole county, so whomever is the chairman at the time becomes that at-large District 9. I do not want to spend one more minute of distraction on this. I do not want one taxpayer dollar spent on this. This school board has autonomy to raise taxes and affect people, and it is not appropriate to spend money when we do not have enough money to pay teachers and custodians. We should not be spending money on a law that was passed by our delegation. The local delegation passed it. That is the process, and our authority is derived from them. So I do not believe $1 should be spent on this. There are other school districts that don't have autonomy. I believe we should keep our autonomy, but if we misspend the public's money, that should be scrutinized. We should not spend one single dollar. And if you say our staff lawyer is going to do it, they're still getting paid. And there's a lot of work to do in the school district. We should not be distracting from what is important, which is working with parents, educating children, and creating relationships with teachers and the people that work in the school district. I feel like this is a distraction, and I am really frustrated that this is coming up and being discussed again. I feel like it's been inappropriately spoken about politically from this dais multiple times, and I'm very frustrated that we're spending time on this, and I would not support spending any money on this.
Your frustration is duly noted, Madam Chair, but you're incorrect. Madam Walker.
Let me just,
well, you were the chair, I misspoke, but you were incorrect. The language of the law basically stipulates that the board chair at the time of the signing of the law would remain board chair until November 2024. That's not in any type of discussion. That is the actual
If we could display it, I don't believe that it says that as explicitly.
I didn't interrupt you, Ms. Walker.
Yes.
The other issue is that I did not say that the other districts were not affected geographically. I did say that districts 2, 4, 6, and 8 were going to be elected as they were originally designed to be. And in districts 2, 4, 6, and 8, we still have those same members residing in those districts. But the way they're reapportioned and redrawn now, there are 2 members of the odd-numbered districts that no longer reside in the districts that they were elected in under this S910. That would be Ms. Marone, who was originally in District 7, would be in District 5, and Dr. Wigfall would be in, she was elected in District 3. She'd be, as she rightly stated, in District 8 and have to oppose Mr. Wright. The two African-American members of this board would be opposing each other in an election to represent District 8. I find that ridiculous, and I don't think it's something that this board should allow. And let me ask you this, if the shoe was on the other foot, if the even number districts were going to have to be elected every in 2 years, would you go for that? Or is it just because of the odd number districts? And why is it that the odd number districts are suffering the wrath of this redistricting?
Also, Ms. Wofford, the authority lies with the people's voice when they vote, and they did. Undermined efforts to infringe on our communications, our community's voices was done, and that's not fair. So you're okay with having laws passed that affect parents in our communities without consulting us? Because we were not consulted.
I feel that it was an open process for redistricting the way that redistricting has happened in the past. And I think it's the way that the timing falls, that it affects the odd seats rather than the even seats. And I believe the seats that are affected are in areas that are growing tremendously. So,
well, taxpayer dollars were used to undermine our parents. So where's the concern for that?
to participate in the redistricting process. It happens all over this entire country.
I'm talking about Berkeley County.
Everywhere in this entire country, including Berkeley County, was redistricted this year. That's the way it works.
I don't care about all the other counties. I care about Berkeley County.
I'm trying to
you are
point
upset about the taxpayer dollars. They've already been wasted because we had no say. So if they can do this to the school board, it could happen to any elected officials. Think about that.
They could decide not to have a school board. They could appoint the school board and not have elections, which it happens other places. The local delegation decides how this works. So it's not like Berkeley County just said, hey, we're going to redistrict this year, and it was something that was not the normal thing to do. The normal thing to do after the census is redistrict. Whether you agree with how it was redistricted or you agree with the process, you take that up with the delegation. But the process happens on a regular basis, and I think it's every 10 years, but I don't want to misspeak. But it happens all over the country exactly in this way. When there is a census, the number of people are looked at in an area in our county, and the lines are drawn so that each district is fairly apportioned.
What's disappointing is the fact that you're so passionate and it doesn't affect your seat. That's what's disappointing.
Okay.
You don't have to rerun after 2 years.
I'm going to say something that I normally have said every school board meeting. It's, I have something to say. So, being the outsider and not from Berkeley County, I've had something in my bag for about 3 months now, and I've never known when it was the right time to say it. And today it's going to be it. And it's the real. Power. It's a strong word. When we use it in leadership, it can make an impact in ways that can be to influence or to dictate. The difference is trust. Trust is what lacks within this board and has been a common theme for quite some time. I stood before this board week after week before I was elected, and I've stood in this board week after week after elected. As John Maxwell puts it, trust has trust busters and trust builders. The 5 trust busters are breaking promises, talking behind people's backs, being judgmental, twisting the truth, and taking personal needs at the expense of others. Trust builders, keeping to your work, having integrity, consistency, reliability, and interindependency. Sharing the respect for others. You can disagree and still have trust. Being dependable, being able to speak the truth in love, being uncomfortable with uncomfortable situations, being able to speak the truth and allowing others to hear it. Cultivating and having trust in your heart. You don't have to lead to be perfect. It's okay to say, you know what? We don't know what we're doing. It's new. We're going to try something different. And if we fail, we're going to get back up and we're going to try again. You know why? Because we're in education, and that's what we want to teach our children to do. I believe we just had a presentation that said, we have to teach our children the best way to behave. Look at us. Are we behaving that way? Are we behaving that way? We're talking about spending taxpayers' dollars into spending money on something. We just wasted so much time where we could have been talking about education. We could have been talking about mental health. We could have been talking about ways that we're hiring teachers or doing things that are two biggest opportunities in this country, which is not respecting law enforcement and having a breakdown in teachers. But no, we're talking about little stuff. I put my hand up here to take an oath that I swore that I wouldn't work for Team A or Team B, that I would work for a district. And I've been pegged week after week, and I've been told that, Kelly, you cannot do the right thing. You cannot do the right thing. From day one, I've been pegged because I made a decision to vote for something that to this day I will keep into my heart unless you personally ask me why I voted for it, because I will not compromise 38,000 students. It's about doing what's right. It's about the principle of things. So if I have to stand here and vote to make this prove whatever it is, whether it be unconstitutional or it is constitutional, to get the right choices for the public, for my constitution, for everybody. I'm District 7, I'm going to be District 5. Am I going to run again? I don't know. But I can tell you that the past 2 years, I've been giving this my blood, sweat, and tears, and it's been an embarrassment because not one of us have been able to reflect what we expect from our kids, our teachers, our parents, our staff, and I'm done with it. So we need to think of, if we're going to rerun, how we're going to reflect what we expect, because we are the leaders. So with that being said, I have some questions. Dr. Richardson, if we are to challenge this, will this cost the district any money? Or Ms. Smith? Sorry for putting you on the spot. If you don't know, it's okay to say you don't know.
Now, this is a discussion on the item of the actual motion, which has been motioned and seconded. This is a discussion. Is this relevant? Is this acceptable for you to answer this?
Answer whether this.
The question about Ms. Marone just asked you.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
To explore whether there are constitutional issues regarding this local law, it should not cost the district anything.
And if we go, I have one question, sorry. And if we pursue this, so if we say we are going to go forward and to see if this law is unconstitutional, who is going to be performing the work to see if it's going to be unconstitutional?
So it would be a number of individuals, but I can't specifically answer that question.
Okay, and if you don't know, it's
Yeah,
okay to say I don't know,
I
because
can't specifically
we
answer.
can always find out. That's,
Right.
That's okay.
I would bring that information back to the board.
Do you have any more questions or comments?
I don't know. My heart's kind of like right now because I'm
Okay.
a little passionate about this.
Well, let me just say that Ms. Wofford is correct in terms of the constitutional authority of the county council to redraw lines after every census.
Local delegation.
The local delegation, or the local delegation, that's right. But what has happened for at least 50 years is that the local delegation has entrusted the local school board to actually draw those lines and to work collaboratively with the board. That's not the case here. That's not the case here, because what is happening is that the law and was passed without any input or design by the board, and it's just not right for them not to at least have the courtesy to consult with the board in redrawing these lines. So
Mr. Barrett.
I'll defer to you, Ms. Wofford.
Yeah, did you attend a meeting where you gave your input on this and the local delegation attended?
I did, you didn't.
I did not.
I
but
did.
I went in, so there was an opportunity for you to give your input.
I absolutely did. Maybe
Gave it that way. I went on the county website that was on the front page of the county website saying, give your opinion on redistricting, and I typed my question in so it would be recorded. So that's how I put my input in. I don't think it's fair to say that there was no input given because some members decided to participate in different ways. I did not participate the same way that you participated in.
But that was you as a citizen of this county. That
No.
was not the school board.
No,
That was
put it
not
in as
school board
District
involvement.
Sally Wofford,
The
District 6.
chairman did represent himself as the chairman of the school board.
That's correct.
He did, but it was
And,
after
let me
the
just-
fact.
Let me just say this, Representative Davis, who is the chair of the local delegation, the last comment she made in that open hearing was that I just got an email or a text from Ms. Wofford, and she's in favor of S910. So I know that you're in favor of it. I understand that. That's your prerogative. I'm against it, even though I'm the only person on this dais here that this law benefits. And I'm absolutely opposed to it because it's wrong.
If I may say, I really do not want anybody in the cabinet, anybody in the staff to be involved with this for the benefit of the people sitting behind.
Again, the people that it doesn't
It's just not
affect.
a reasonable use of their time and effort. They should be focused on next school year and where we're going with that, with the education of our kids.
Well, they're not held captive. They can leave at their discretion.
Mr. Chairman, advocating for parents and parents' voices is our job, and that involves passionate moments when their rights are infringed, and this is that time. So it's very disturbing to hear people that are not affected by S910 to be so adamantly opposed. I have nothing further to say.
Any
I
other
just-
discussion? I think is fruitless for us to continue the
Yeah,
discussion.
I will
think
make one other statement. I'm not saying whether or not I'm for or against that bill. What I'm saying is that individually, if it affects you and you want to fight it, you fight it individually. You do not involve the school district.
Well, I totally disagree with
It
you
affects
because
the school
it
district.
affects multiple members of this board, all of the odd-numbered districts whose constituents elected them for 4 years, and they are going to be summarily cut in half by 2 years. That's wrong, and there's no precedent for that happening without at least a time period in which for everybody to understand that this 2-year term is going to be happening, and everybody knows up front. That's not the case here.
To add to it,
then
to add to
certainly fight
it, it's not just that we have to rerun this year after 2 years. It's we have to run every 2 years after that, you guys. The even numbered seats get to keep their seats for a 4-year term, and the odd number seats only get 2-year terms. I want you all to understand that.
That's not accurate.
Yes, ma'am, it is. Go read S910.
I did.
Can I ask Dr. Richardson her opinion of if one set of seats is going to have 2-year terms and one set of seats has 4-year terms? Is that how you read this bill? Because that is not how I understood it.
After 2024.
So the way it reads now is that the odd number seats will have to run again this year and have to run again in 2024. So it would be a 2-year term for now and 2-year term after this election.
Does it
And then in
continue as a 2-year term?
2028, correct?
The way it reads, it says in 2020, this is what happened, and it will be a 2-year term. It does not say after that specific.
What's to occur.
What's
Okay.
to occur.
Still, they're making, okay, I'll stand corrected for a moment. However, how do you make a law that only goes through 2024? So I'm going to have to go reread that. Look up S910, read it, because you are the voices that elected us, and you're the voices that are being cut. You are the voices that are not being heard.
So is there any other discussion? I think we belabored the point. There's no community input or no discussion from the audience, Mr. Davis. So this is no, sir, you are to remain quiet. Thank you. So what we will do is call for the question.
I do have one more question. I do have one more question.
Okay, you're welcome to state your question.
Actually, it's not a question, it's a statement. It's, like I said, the wounds are so deep within Berkeley County that people talk and judgments are already made before we were able to listen. And being an outsider coming in, it's very, very unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate because I can see both sides. I can see both sides because the county is growing. We just did a census. So lines are gonna have to be redrawn. How they were drawn and how it came out is how it came out. Do I see both sides? I try to always see both sides. But the problem is that because it's labeled as Team A or Team B, we automatically have we listen
Kelly, you're
with
putting that-
judgment
you're
and
putting
not
that out there.
compassion. Say it again?
You're labeling it. No one else up here is labeling anything.
No, everybody sees us as Team A or Team B, Kirsten.
Okay.
We're not one board, and if you think we're one board, well then, we need to look in the mirror and have some self-reflection, because if there's not one person who sees us as one board. So I'm gonna say that for principal purposes only, and to solve and reflect the vision of the public, so they can have clarification, because when I sit in the seat, I'm to reflect the people that I represent, and for the 38,000 students. If the people and the residents of Berkeley County want to know the truth, the only way to know the truth is to find out if it's unconstitutional, is to get the answers. But I will be voting off of principle only and not worth of anything else but my opinion. It's not my opinion, and it's not what I think of the bill.
Any other comments? I'll read the motion on the table again so that all members are aware. I made the motion, it was seconded by Ms. Tanner. I move that the board examine the possible legal and constitutional issues regarding local law S 910 with respect to shortening the terms of members elected in 2020 by their respective constituent districts. All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
Those members who voted in the affirmative, please raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carries by a vote of 4-2. The next item, I believe, is for me to adjourn this meeting so the committees may convene. Is there a motion to adjourn the regular meeting?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Tanner, a second. Was it Ms. Tanner?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
From Ms. Littleton, a second to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion? All in favor of adjourning the regular meeting, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. And Ms. Littleton, you may convene your committee.
I'm calling the Committee on Academics and Innovation to order. I declare there is a quorum of committee members present, and note that the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
I give a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. We have a motion by Dr. Wigfall and a second by Kathy Littleton. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion's approved. Vote of 2-0. First agenda item is the Head Start Budget Expenditure Report for April 2022, Head Start Credit Report for April 2022, revised selection criteria, revised Head Start teacher job description, and transportation waiver. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Madam Chair, I make the motion to approve the Head Start Budget Expenditure Report for April 2022, Head Start Credit Card Report for April 2022, revised selection criteria, revised Head Start teacher job description and transportation waiver.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed by nay. Approved 2-0. Second agenda item is the spring 2022 textbook adoption. Dr. Anthony Dixon, you are recognized.
Good evening, Chair Littleton, Superintendent Jackson, Board Chair Barrow, and school board members. We are, make sure I did the first one, the textbooks or local board. On Tuesday, December 14th, 2021, the South Carolina Department of Education approved funding for multiple instructional material adoptions. The Academics and Innovation Department then organized BCSD committees of teachers selected by their principals to review the new options available from the State Department. After a thorough examination to ensure alignment with standards and instructional models, each school submitted a vote for their selection, and currently the textbooks in use are from previous adoptions. According to board policy IFAA, the adoption of textbooks in Berkeley County School District will be made by committees composed of classroom teachers, subject area coordinators, and directors based upon the recommendation of the principals of the district. The adoption process was supervised by the Director of Curriculum and Instruction, as well as the Chief of Academics and Innovation. All textbooks must be approved by the school board. We bring to you for consideration the following textbooks for a first committee reading, and the textbooks are displayed in the back. They will be displayed the entire process, but we bring science textbooks for grades 6 through 8, social studies, and there's a list of social studies textbooks from K through 5, 6th grade, 8th grade, geography, human economics, government, psychology, sociology, and some advanced placement courses, as well as career technical education courses.
Thank you. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Madam Chair, I make the motion to approve the South Carolina State Department of Education instructional materials approved by the BCSD committee caravans selected by the individuals or schools administrations.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Ms. Littleton, I have a question. Did the state provide funding for us to purchase these textbooks, or would we be, or is this a budget item?
This is not a budget item yet. The state has not provided funding as of yet for the social studies texts, but they have provided funding for science.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other discussion?
And CTE provides their own, they provide funding for CTE. The state provides for CTE as well.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 2-0. The third agenda item is the 2022-2023 local board approved and innovative courses. Dr. Dixon?
Yes. So the South Carolina activity coding system, it requires that the board approve innovative and local board approved courses annually. Instructional activities that are currently offered in schools but are not listed in Table 1 of the activity coding system must receive local board approval. A student can earn only elective credit for locally designed elective and approved courses. And we bring to you for consideration the following proposed 2022-2023 local board approved and innovative courses as provided for first reading.
Thank you. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the proposed 2022-2023 local board approved and innovative courses as provided.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion's passed 2-0. The fourth item is policy JICD. Thank you, Dr. Dixon. The fourth item on the agenda is policy JICDA, Student Behavior Code, first reading. Ms. Heather Taylor, you're recognized.
Thank you, Board Chair Littleton, Superintendent Jackson, and board members. The administration is asking that policy JICDA be revised. The last revised version was 2010. The policy is presented with minor revisions to accompany the requested changes to the administrative rule so that both will be updated simultaneously. Excuse me.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Madam Chair, I make the motion to approve the first reading of policy JICDA, Student Behavior Code, as presented.
Second, we have a motion by Dr. Wigfall, a second by Littleton. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. The fifth agenda item is Administrative Rule JICDAR, Student Behavior Code, first reading. Ms.
Yes,
Taylor?
ma'am. The administration is also asking the administrative rule JICDA-R, which was last revised in 2019, to be revised. The updated version seeks to incorporate the latest changes to the Department of Education regulation. Revisions include reclassifying level 1 misconduct from disorderly to behavioral misconduct to align with law enforcement terminology. These regulatory changes were to ensure that law enforcement is not activated for pure administrative tasks. Revisions also include language to appropriately handle improper use of technology in light of the enhanced use of technology by students both on and off campus. The proposed changes also provide notice to parents, guardians, students, and the community regarding the discipline process for students with disabilities. Other changes have been made to update language throughout the policy. So policy and administrative rule are presented for first reading for approval.
Thank you. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the first reading of Administrative Rule JICDA-R, Student Behavior Code, as presented.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Thank you very much. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. I make a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes for the Finance Committee.
I'm assuming the temporary role of committee chair in Mr. McQuillan's absence, and I've assigned Dr. Wigfall, and she's accepted to be the second member of the committee. I'm calling the Committee on Finance and Capital Planning to order. I declare a quorum present, and the meeting has been notified under Freedom of Information Act. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. All in favor, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. The first agenda item is out-of-state travel. Ms. Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman Barrow, board members, and Superintendent Jackson. Administration is requesting approval for out-of-state travel as presented.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel as presented.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0. Next agenda item is funding flexibility. Ms. Smith.
Thank you. At the end of each fiscal year, we have the opportunity to flex or transfer the carryover portion of certain state funds' unused revenue to the general fund. This year, we are requesting approval of the funding flexibility for 21-22. The transfer amounts are the maximum amounts that can be transferred and will most likely be significantly less than what is presented due to programs and salaries planned through June 30th, 2022.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the funding flexibility as presented.
Second. Any discussion? Do you have any idea how many funds that are going to be carried over to the general fund?
Yes, sir, we're looking at two funds, Fund 338, which is our at-risk fund, and Fund 357, which is summer reading camps. Currently, we're showing $1.2 million for Fund 338 and $100,000 for 357. It will most likely be half of that amount. We have to put the maximum amount on the form that we will actually carry forward, so we don't want to undercut ourselves. So we understand that there are additional programs and salaries that are coming out of this, but we wanted to put the maximum amount that we could carry over, which are those amounts.
So it goes to the general fund. Does it go directly to the fund balance?
It will go to the general fund to cover any expenditures, or it will go to fund balance, yes, sir.
Okay. Any other discussion? Call the question. All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it by a vote of 2-0. Third item is the general obligation bond resolution. Ms. Smith.
Thank you. Each year in June, administration requests approval of a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds. This request is for approval of the issuance and sale of the general obligation bonds not exceeding $85 million for the purpose of paying existing debt, funding capital projects, and the cost of issuance of the bonds, or any other lawful purpose as the board may determine. Administration will present the capital projects budget for the new money portion of the issuance for approval in July. And the closing date for the sale and issuance of the bonds will be September 7th, 2022. A copy of the resolution was uploaded to board docs for your review.
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 2C, general obligation bond resolution. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries 2-0. The next item is item number 4, the ESSER 3 roofing project, Boulder Bluff Elementary. Ms. Smith.
Thank you. I would like to ask Marcy Abrahamson to join me at the podium, please.
Good evening, Chairman Barrow, board members, Superintendent Jackson. Tonight, we're presenting for your approval the ESSER 3 roofing projects. The first one is IFB 643-2122 for Boulder Bluff Elementary. We recommend award to Keating Roofing and Sheet Metal Company Incorporated for the base bid for a total award of $2,457,300.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the award of IFB 643-2122 for ESSER 3, selective roofing repairment and repairs for Boulder Bluff Elementary School to Keating Roofing and Sheet Metal Company Incorporated for the base bid work for the contract award of $2,457,300.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The motion carries. The next item is 2E, ESSER 3 roofing project for Marrington Elementary.
Yes, sir. We're requesting award of IFB 644-2122 for the ESSER 3 roofing project at Marrington Elementary to be awarded to Bone Dry Roofing for the base bid and alternate 1 for a total award of $935,300.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the award of IFB 644-2122 for ESSER 3, selective roof repairment and repairs for Marrington Elementary School to Bone Dry Roofing for the base bid plus alternate 1 for the total contract award of $935,300.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries 2-0. The next item is item number 7, ESSER 3 roofing project. Wait a minute, it should be St. Stephen. Misspoke. Item number 6 is ESSER 3 roofing project, St. Stephen Elementary.
Yes, sir. For IFB 645, for the ESSER 3 roofing project at St. Stephen Elementary, we're recommending award to AAR of North Carolina for the base bid only in the value of $1,654,750.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make a motion to award of IFB 645 for ESSER 3 selective roof repairment and repairs for St. Stephen's Elementary to AAR of North Carolina for the base bid, you said only, a total contract award of $1,654,750, sorry.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The motion carries 2-0. The next item is agenda item number 7, the ESSER 3 roofing project for Goose Creek High School.
The IFB 647 is the ESSER roofing project at Goose Creek High School with recommended award to AAR of North Carolina for the base bid plus alternate 1 and alternate 3 for a total award of $3,640,743.
What's the pleasure of the board? Committee.
Can you repeat that award number again? I think that's different from what I have. You said $3 million?
Total award, $3,640,743.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Chairman, I make a motion to award the award of IFB 647 for ESSER 3 selective roof repairment and repairs for Goose Creek High School to AAR of North Carolina for the base bid plus alternate 1 and 3 for the total contract award of $3,640,743.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. The motion carries by 2-0. The next item is for the roofing project at Cross Elementary.
Yes,
Item
sir.
number 8.
We have IFB 648-2122 for the ESSER 3 roofing project at Cross Elementary School with recommended award to Southern Roofing for the base bid plus alternates 1, 2, and 3 for a total award of $1,639,000.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make the motion to approve the award of IFB 648 for ESSER 3 selective roof repairment and repairs for Cross Elementary School to Southern Roofing for the base bid plus alternate 1, 2, and 3 for the total contract award of $1,639,000.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries by a vote of 2-0. The next item is item number 9, the ESSER 3 roofing project at Hanahan Middle School.
Yes, sir. IFB 649-2122 is for the ESSER 3 roofing project at Hanahan Middle School, and recommended award is to AAR of North Carolina for the base bid plus alternates 1 and 2 for a total award of $1,646,000.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make the motion to approve the award of IFB 649-2122 for ESSER 3 selective roof repairment and repairs for Hanahan High School to AAR.
Excuse me, middle school?
Hanahan Middle School?
Middle school.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Okay. To AAR of North Carolina for the base bid plus alternates 1 and 2 for the total contract award of $1,646,000.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries 2-0. The next item is item number 10, roofing project for J.K. Gordine.
Yes, sir. This is IFB 650-2122 for the ESSER 3 roofing project at JK Elementary with recommended award to AAR of North Carolina for the base bid plus alternates 1 and 2 for a total award amount of $603,050.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make the motion to approve the award of IFB 650-2021 for the ESSER 3 selective roof repairment and repairs for J.K. Gordine Elementary School to AAR of North Carolina for the base bid plus alternate 1 and 2 for the total contract award of $603,050.
$603,050 is, I'll make a second that motion. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. The motion carries. The next agenda item is item number 11, the roofing project at Westview Elementary.
Yes, sir. This is our last roofing project for the evening, and it's
Thank you.
IFB 651 for the ESSER 3 roofing project at Westview Elementary. Recommended award is to Keating Roofing and Sheet Metal Company Incorporated for the base bid plus alternate one for a total contract value of $1,741,348.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make the motion to approve the award of IFB 651-2122 for ESSER 3 selective roof repairment and repairs for Westview Elementary Schools to Keating Roofing and Sheet Metal Company Incorporated for the base bid plus alternate one for a total contract award of $1,741,348.
Second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, there is.
Ms. Littleton, yes.
Thank you. Do you know when they're expected to start these projects and approximately when they would be done? A lot of work.
Yes, ma'am. The award notices, the purchase orders will go out after final board approval at the end of the month, and then materials will be ordered and work will be conveyed as immediately and as soon as they can get supplies in. So that's why we're trying to get these through, because we have to have it finished by 2024.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's not likely they're going to all be finished before school starts.
No, sir.
No, I didn't think so.
It won't be this summer.
I was going to ask the same question, Ms. Littleton. Thank you. The next item is item number 12, the welding lab equipment for CTE. Excuse me. I didn't call the question?
I don't think so.
I did not.
You didn't.
Thank you, Ms. Wofford. I thought I did, but all in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries by a vote of 2-0. Thank you again. The next item. Thank you, Lacey. The next item is item number 12, welding lab equipment for CTE. Marcy.
Yes, sir. IFB 652-2122 was a term contract that was issued for welding lab equipment for initial purchase of 27 welding machines that are going to be distributed among 5 welding programs in the district. And these welding machines are going to be used to support the welding program and welding processes used by our industry partners in our region. There are also going to be welding booth replacements at Berkeley High School. For safety concerns, the booths are being replaced because the current booths are those that were moved from the career centers when they closed back in the early 2000s. So we are updating those booths as well. The initial award amount for the initial project is $288,944.42. And again, this is going to be, after this initial project, this will be a term contract that will be open for as-needed purchases in the future to support the CTE welding program. And that as-needed amount is to be determined based on budgeting in future years.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make the motion to approve the award of IFB 652-2122 to, is it Praxier? Distribution Incorporated for the welding equipment for an initial 1-year term valued at $288,944.42 based on the initial project with the option to renew for 4 additional and 1-year terms for additional as-needed purchases.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries 2-0. The next item is item number 13, painting services. Ms. Marcy.
Yes, sir. This was a fixed price bid, 656-2122, that was conducted to secure multiple resources to provide painting services throughout the district for numerous planned projects over the next 5 years. Projects will be completed on an as-needed basis over the life of the contract, and the recommended awardees are B&R Painting Incorporated, Omar's Floor Covering, Quintex, and Quintex Solution. The initial projected annual contract value is $1 million, and the estimated 5-year contract value is $5 million.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make the motion to approve the award of FPB 656, 2122 for the painting services to B&R Painting, Omar's Floor Covering, and Quintex Solutions for an initial contract term of 1 year, value at $1 million, with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year terms for a total estimate contract value of $5 million.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. The motion carries 2-0. The next item is item number 14, Chemical and Sanitation Program for Child Nutrition Services.
Yes, sir. RFP 658-2122 was conducted to select a provider for the Child Nutrition's Chemical and Sanitation Supplies Program. Unfortunately, we only received 1 responsive bid. However, the pricing submitted was deemed fair and reasonable and is comparable to historical prices adjusted for inflation and aligns with the budget expectations of child nutrition. The evaluation committee fully evaluated the submitted responsive bid, and the initial contract term is for 1 year with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year terms. After evaluation, award is recommended to Sanitech Systems Incorporated for an estimated 1-year contract value of $90,819 for a total and an estimated 5-year contract value of $454,095.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make the motion to approve the award of RFP 658-2122 for the Chemical and Sanitation Supplies Program for Child Nutrition Services to Santex Systems Incorporated for an additional 1-year contract value of $90,819 with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year terms for a total contract value of $454,095.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries by a vote of 2-0. The next item is item number 15, Carpet Cleaning Services.
Yes, sir. Again, this was a fixed price bid for 659-2122 to secure multiple sources for carpet cleaning services to be conducted as needed throughout the district over the next 5 years. We recommend award to Floor Doctor, Semper, we're going to say Steri Clean because that's their doing business as name, and Roberts Cleaning Services for a projected 1-year contract value of $75,000 and an estimated 5-year contract value of $375,000.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Chairman, I make the motion to approve the award of FPB 659 for carpet cleaning services to Floor Doctor, Roberts Cleaning Services, LLC, and Simpri Van Cando, is that correct?
I think you did a great job.
Cando LLC, that's correct, okay. Doing business as SteriClean, South Carolina, for an initial 1-year term valued at $75,000 with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year terms for a potential contract value of $375,000.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, all in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries by a vote of 2-0. The next item is item number 16, South Carolina Purchasing Alliance RFP for perishable, non-perishable foods, paper, and related products.
Yes, sir. This was RFP, and I'm just going to call it Berkeley 2223 because the Food Alliance assigned that bid number, and there are way too many zeros. I'm going to miss one.
Thank you.
But this was conducted we do this process every 5 years, and it was up for contract renewal. So we did the competitive procurement process with the South Carolina Food Alliance to support the USDA Child Nutrition Program. This was a competitive bid process organized and supervised by the South Carolina Purchasing Alliance. We received 3 bids for Lot A, which is perishable and non-perishable foods and supplies, excluding produce and eggs, and 2 bids for Lot B, which is the produce and eggs. The initial contract term is 1 year with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year terms. After tabulation and evaluation, the highest ranked responsive and responsible bidders are Lot A, Cisco out of Raleigh. And then also Lot B for the produce and eggs is A&A Produce Company for an estimated one-year cost of $8,547,141.15. And that is for Lot A. Lot B would be 200, I'm sorry.
But do we pay that, or is that subsidized?
Total cost of Lot A and Lot B is going to be $8,800,667.65 for 1 year, and then the 5-year cost for the two lots combined will be $44,338.25. We spend a lot of money feeding our kids.
That's a mouthful. What's the pleasure of the board?
Goodness. Chairman.
Just forget the numbers, okay?
Yeah, just call it Berkeley 2223.
I make a motion to approve the Berkeley County School District participation of South Carolina purchasing Berkeley 2223. Can I say that?
Yes, ma'am.
For perishable and non-perishable food products, paper, and related child nutrition supplies awarded to Cisco of Riley for Lot A valued at $8,547,141.15 for 1 year, and to A&A Produce Company for Lot B with 1 year contract or 1 year term for a total potential contract value at $44,003,338.25.
Second.
I have a question.
Is there any discussion, Ms. Wofford? Yes.
So that's our estimate. Do they give any kind of guarantee of, how much 36 eggs cost or however many little things of whatever cost? Is there an estimated cost or is there a guaranteed price for the year? Does that make sense?
There is no guaranteed price. Fluctuate.
Monthly, we get a monthly cost, but our basic staples stay, or we cost out for the year.
For a year.
Could you hear that?
So staples are for a year, paper products and staples, and produce and eggs are monthly. Okay. And this is our estimate based on our kids and what we normally feed and all those kinds of things.
Historical use.
Historical use. Okay, thank you.
Now, this money is subsidized by the government.
That's correct. This is for the USDA program.
They give us the money and we determine who we're going to give the bids to? Kind of?
The Purchasing Alliance is basically several school districts working together and
All right.
to try to maximize economies of scale so we get the best pricing.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it by a vote of 2-0. The next, where am I?
17.
What's the next item?
17.
Yeah, it's a cooperative bid. What number is it? Let me see.
Q.
Y'all bear with me here.
You're on Q.
Number 17.
Yes.
Item number 17, cooperative bid to provide and deliver milk-related products.
Yes, sir. We were notified in April that the North Charleston facility for Board and Dairy was closing down as of May 31st, and they would no longer be supplying milk for our school district. We have historically worked with Horry County School District for a cooperative milk bid. We joined their bid in April, and it was resolicited, and we had PET that bid on all 3 regions. There were 3 school districts that participated, and we are asking for award to participate in this cooperative that was led by Horry County School District and awarded to Dairy Brands Fluid LLC, which is doing business as Pet Dairy, for an estimated 1-year contract value of $1,905,418.50 for an estimated 1-year contract value for our milk products, and an estimated 5-year contract value of $9,527,092.50.
Do we have the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I make a motion to approve Berkeley County School District participation in Horry County's District IFB 2122-46 awarded to DFA Dairy Brands Fluid LLC doing the business of pet dairy to provide and deliver perishable milk-related products to an initial one-year term value at $1,905,418.50 with the options to renew for 4 additional one-year terms with the total potential contract value at $9,527,092.50.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries 2-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy. Ms. Abramson. The next item is agenda item 18, CNS student meal prices. Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Chairman Barrow. Administration received additional information on this agenda item yesterday, and based on timing, we were unable to remove it from the agenda. We are requesting that no action be taken this evening.
Okay, so we're just going to skip this item.
Yes, sir.
All right. Moving on to agenda item 19. Is there any concern or question by the board members for skipping this item? We'll go to item number 19. CNS salary adjustments 2022-23. Ms. Smith.
Thank you. Administration is requesting approval to increase the Child Nutrition Services hourly rates of pay by 25 cents per hour for managers, assistant managers, operators, and field supervisors. The total cost to fund this increase is $135,579. Due to the uncertainty of the fluctuation in revenue next year due to the districts returning to the National School Lunch Program, meaning student meals will no longer be free for 22-23, with the exception of our CEP schools. The increase in cost of supplies, milk, and commodities, we would like to consider a phased-in approach for the increases in the staff. To help offset the cost of the increase, Benny Smith, the Director of Child Nutrition, has decreased purchase services for temporary employees and subs by utilizing her current staff to fill in when staff is absent. In addition to this requested increase, these employees will also be eligible for the percentage increase approved by the board at the next board meeting for the 22-23 school year.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Chairman, I'm gladly to approve the motion for our last agenda item to approve the child nutrition salary increase as presented. Thank you.
Second. Any discussion? I guess what I'm asking is, are we going to know what the salary increases are going to be?
It was requested at 25 cents per hour for each of them for this current school year, and because of the fluctuations in revenue, we would like to see what revenue looks like. We received additional revenue this year because of COVID, and we are reimbursed differently because every child is eating free, and because that will change back to the National School Lunch Program for 22-23, the revenue will look a little bit differently. So if we do a phased-in approach, we would like to see another increase in 23-24 for these same positions, but just to be on the safe side and be conservative and ensure that we can sustain this, we would like to do 25 cents per hour for those positions, plus the additional percentage increase that will be approved for all employees at the next board meeting.
That's what I was going to ask. Whatever the board approves at the next meeting for the increase in salary, these folks will get the same percentage increase.
Yes, sir. And I didn't put an amount because I did not want to assume.
Did I call the question? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and I think I call for an adjournment of the committee.
Chairman, I call to adjourn.
Second, to adjourn the committee. All in favor, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Tanner, take it away.
Y'all ready to go home? Let's do this. I'm calling the Committee on Human Resources to order. I declare there is a quorum of committee members present and note that the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. First agenda item is revision of 2022-2023 salary book. Dr. Natasha Wright, you are recognized. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Jackson, and board members. For the record, we are asking for approval of the Berkeley County School District's 2022-2023 first draft of the salary book. The updates have been highlighted in yellow and shared with you. Please note that the salary tables for the 2022-2023 salary tables will be updated upon the budget approval. Do you have any questions?
What is the pleasure of our committee?
I move to approve the 2022-2023 salary book as presented by administration.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Wofford, a second by Ms. Marone. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Second agenda item is policy GBGD, workers' compensation, first reading. Ms. Ashley Smith, you are recognized.
Good evening again. Administration is requesting first reading of GBGD, workers' compensation. The policy was last revised in 2020. The updated version seeks to include language regarding the third-party plan administrator that the district works with to process claims. The policy also revises the district administrator responsible for approving lower reserve tiers.
What is the pleasure of the committee?
I move to approve the first reading of policy GBGD, workers' compensation.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Marone, a second by Ms. Wofford. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Third agenda item, Dr. Natasha Wright, you're recognized. We're going to discuss the policy GCCAC, Family and Medical Leave Act, first reading.
We are asking for first reading approval to revise policy GCCAC, Family and Medical Leave Act, FMLA. The policy was last revised in 2018. The proposed revisions include providing medical authorization to return to full duties instead of light duty assignments. A section was also added that FMLA will be utilized in conjunction with the workers' compensation program for employees injured in the workplace. Language was incorporated, clarifying that vacation and sick time will not accrue while on catastrophic leave. Are there any questions?
What is the pleasure of the committee?
I move to approve the first reading of policy GCCAC, Family and Medical Leave Act.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Marone, a second by Ms. Wofford. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Wofford, a second by Ms. Marone. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Good night.
Good night.